Hello there, and welcome to a brand new playthrough by me, the Jonin Monkey. Today we'll be exploring through Pokemon Emerald. Uh, this playthrough won't be updated quite so much as the others, mostly because I'll be editing out the grinding. For those of you who don't know, grinding is basically when I beat up weak and defenseless Pokemon in order to raise their levels properly. So I'll be cutting all that out. So it's basically I'll be showing the important events of the game once all my Pokemon are ready for them. And yeah, a little brief explanation about this game. It was made in 2006. It's the kind of traditional game that comes out every few years. It's basically it's an add-on from Ruby and Sapphire, where it's basically got the best of both versions and then just fused them together. Although this is the no, actually, it's not the first one. Sorry, it kind of follows from Crystal in that it also adds some extra elements to the storyline, which I kind of like. It also added that badass bit of the intro, and like you see, the art is mostly focused around the mysterious Pokemon named Rayquaza. Crud! I'm just giving away the spoilers. Oh well. So here we go, the traditional Pokemon style beginning, where we're introduced to the Professor. And with each Professor that's introduced, so many people don't care about them. It's kind of sad already, but almost there have been no Professors that top Professor Oak. Actually, well, everyone always says Professor Oak is the best, but personally I kind of like Professor Rowan just because of, well, he. For those who don't know, Professor Rowan was introduced in Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum. But yeah, I like him just because he's so loud and, well, he throws some interesting questions about evolution. So yeah, anyway, you get to choose your gender. It's always funny that the professors always ask you what gender you are. It's sort of like they couldn't tell from sight. Although there was some excuse for that in I think it was put Pokemon Gold and Silver, because that was a telephone call, so therefore you couldn't really. No, wait, hang on. That game didn't have genders either. Okay, so no game has had any excuse for it. Right, sorry. This was the first game that introduced the whole choose your gender thing, so yeah. Anyway, about to start the adventure, and I must say that a lot of people diss the Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald generation, but I kind of like it. There were certain elements I really love, and this element is one of them. I kind of love the interesting start that it basically just starts with you moving to a new place rather than just sort of saying, "Oh, you've lived here for a long time in this incredibly dull village that only has 4 houses," or as it's called, Little Root Town. Welcome to Little Root Town. The attractions here are 4 houses and grass. And this is your mother. Obviously, he was telling you to basically set at the clock so that the Game Boy Advance knows what time it is, and also you get to see all these Pokemon moving around. Although that Zangoose, it's not really doing anything; it's just moving the box in random directions. It's like it's completely indecisive. Oh my god! Where do I put this? Where do I put this? Where do I put this microwave? Yeah. This is setting the clock. Though, strangely enough, I don't know whether time really has an effect on these games, because the Ruby and Sapphire generation, it didn't really have the night option. I mean, apparently certain things happen later on in the day, but it's really, really hard to tell, in all honesty, because, well, the map doesn't really change at all to compensate for this. You just have to rely on your own natural time, but oh well. Anyway, Mother's telling us now that, our father is on the TV. Yes, this game has one plus. You actually have a father in this. Whereas, it's in the other games, it's always just assumed that you're just the child of a single parent. But yeah, there's a father in this game, and he's actually pretty interesting for reasons I'll get to in a minute. Actually, why bother? It already says there. Yeah, basically, he's a gym leader, which actually makes for a pretty interesting battle. So, yeah, now we're getting into the traditional setup and being told, let's go and find Professor Birch. And, oh yeah, we're also supposed to go and meet our next door neighbours, who are thankfully just across from us. Oh, hello, person who has just broken into our house without even knocking. Oh, geez. It's always only in RPGs are people this welcoming when you just barge into their house without any questions whatsoever. Oh well, that's just being. So now we're just going to break into. We're essentially breaking into a girl's room. We could do something really naughty, like there for the underwear drawer, but no, she's broken it. It had stopped us before that. And this is May. Yeah, the characters all have their own like generic names. Because basically the opposite gender becomes the rival. Like for example, if I had chosen the female trainer, she would have been the male version would have been the rival. Apparently he's named Brendan. Unless I'm controlling him. In which case his name is Oh, this is making my head hurt. So, anyway, she's basically saying Dad's not here at the moment, and so we're off to look in the grasses. And this weird girl's apparently the one that's stopping you from going outside beforehand. But, aha, now we have an interesting start. Yeah, Professor Birch is now getting attacked by a Zangoose. No, wait, not a Zangoose, sorry. I've got the names mixed up. Zigzagoon. And the Pokemon I'll choose for this is Trico. Yeah, at that point you get the choice between three Pokemon. Trico, the grass type, Torchic, the fire type, and Mudkip, the water type. Now in all honesty, I prefer Torchic by far, because to be honest, his final evolve form Blaziken is one of the coolest Pokemon I've ever seen. These only Sandslash and Charizard that top him in my view. Oh, and Kyogre too. But the reason why I've chosen Trico is because this is a special playthrough, which, as I've said in the title, in order to kind of add an interesting twist to this, so that so I can separate myself from other people who have done a playthrough of this game, I'm doing a single type playthrough, which is something I've never done before, so it should be an interesting challenge. But yeah, basically I'm doing an all grass type playthrough, hence why I've started off with Trico. So yeah, this is going to be interesting, especially against some gym leaders. In fact, from what I remember, there are 2 gym leaders who are going to absolutely slaughter me. But anyway, yeah, at this moment, Professor Birch is thanking you for saving him, and as such, you get the Pokemon, which I actually think is a much more sensible reason for giving someone a Pokemon, rather than... It's sort of... I kind of like the way the story pans out in Emerald a lot, in all honesty. I prefer it to something like a Pokemon... what was it? The original Pokemon, where it's just basically the Professor Oak saying, "Hello, do you want to leave the village? Well, I might as well give you one of these last Pokemon, even though I barely know you." I don't know. Anyway, that's just me whining about it and stuff. Anyway, I'm sorry, I am completely lost. I am not sure what we're doing now. I think we're supposed to go and find May. And it takes me a while to remember that May is in fact in another town altogether. I'm sorry, it's been a while since I've played this game, and at the time I was barely paying attention to the dialogue. What was I doing all that time? Well, if you must know, I was being sad and thinking about what possible funny comments I could say. And it turns out it just made me look like an idiot, sorry. Anyway, so yeah. This is another town, New Bark Town, and it's really not that interesting, so we'll just go straight through it. Yeah, there are 2 routes here. Now, you could go into the other route, but at the moment there's a guy blocking it saying that apparently there's a footprint he has to study at all costs, which isn't that interesting. And I'm going to wander around. I could talk to these people, but I choose not to, because there is May, and yes, another wild Pokemon encounter. For future reference, I'll be editing most of these out, so you'll only see a wild encounter if there's a Pokemon we haven't seen before, or I'm attempting to capture it. And this is May, our new rival, who is now going to challenge us to our first ever Pokemon battle. And this is where I choose to end the playthrough. Yes, I am that evil. Join me next time when we actually do some fighting. See you then.